Okay, students and parents, welcome to this episode. And today we're going to talk about using the Discovery Education Tech Book. First thing I want you to do is log on to ortn.discoveryeducation.com. When you get there, you will put in your username and password. The username and password for Discovery Education's tech book is the exact same as Skyward. Now, when you get there, you should see Oak Ridge School District at the top because this is a site specifically designed just for the Oak Ridge School District. On the username, it is the first five letters of the last name plus the first three letters of the first name and 000. So it's 8 letters and 3 zeros. Again, that's the first five letters of the last name and then the first three letters of the first name followed by 000. On the password, it is a 6-digit code that gets you into Skyward as well. Okay, we're going to go ahead and log in and we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, once you're logged in, this is the home page you'll see for the Discovery Education Tech Book. You can see there across the top, you got lots of different options. Assignments, that means a teacher can use the Tech Book to make an assignment for students. When the student comes to the Techbook page, it will tell you what your assignment is and try to help you out to get it completed. But what I want to show you today are two things. I want to show you the actual tech book, and I keep saying that term because it's basically a digital textbook. And I also want to show you Board Builder. So let's go ahead and we'll go over to the tech book first. Alright, so you want to look over here in the top left hand side of your screen where it says My DE Services, and you're going to see you have these four different options. We're going to go all the way down to Social Studies Tech Book. When you click, the default is actually for United States history. Well, if your child is in U.S. history class, this is a great resource. If you have a child at Oak Ridge High School or an 8th grader at Robertsville or Jefferson, this is a great resource to use. Since I'm trying to make this video a little specific to my classes, Mr. Layton's social studies classes are world history. So we've got to change the textbook. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. It says switch course. We're going to go down to world history, prehistory through 1800. Now you can see that there's a little bit of a visual as you come up. This is kind of the textbook's way, kind of a front cover of sorts. We're going to click on table of contents. And now it kind of lays out for you everything that's covered by this online textbook. We'll pick one in just a second and I'll show you what a chapter looks like. Okay, and a pretty popular choice for 6th or 7th grade social studies is often ancient Greece. So your student comes down to chapter 9 and you can see the different sections. What Discovery Education has done is they've broken up these chapters into an engaging part to the chapter, an exploration part, an explanation part, and an elaborate part. I'm going to click on the engaging part for just a second to let you see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what the online textbook looks like under the engaging tab. You see you have some visuals here, including a video by Discovery Education. And this would be kind of an introduction to the Greeks, kind of a first page of the chapter, if you will. Okay, now here's a tour of the actual textbook pages, or tech book pages as they're called. You can see up here at the top, you can scroll through number 1, 2, and the story continues on. Always on the right hand side, you have visual aids like pictures. Sometimes there's even graphic organizers or reading passages to help students understand. Sometimes it's in the form of a video. If a student's looking at the material and they wish, they can actually highlight the text, as I'm doing here, and then it's going to bring up these options. Speak text means that if the student wanted to put on earphones, they were listening at home, it would actually read that text to them. We know that sometimes students have an easier time reading if they have an audio going along with it. It helps them to do that. In addition, they have a virtual highlighter that they can choose, and they can choose to highlight the text if they want to choose this color green, and now their text is highlighted. So as a parent, if you wanted to go through and read and maybe highlight some areas to quiz your child, you would have that ability. You also have the ability, using the DiscoveryEd Techbook, to take notes. So if you thought this was an important section, you click on the take notes and you would type in here, must read this again. And that's going to allow you to have a note in there underneath that information. Another great feature about the DiscoveryEd Techbook is, if si prefiere leer el libro en español, haga clic aquí. And the entire text is translated into Spanish. Excellent tool for all students. If you want to translate it back into English, it's as simple as coming up here, clicking on English. As you click on the Explain tab, you're going to see there's some different activities. These would be the types of things that teachers could assign students to help them with understanding. So you can kind of click on these at your own time and get an idea of what these activities would be like. The Elaborate is filled with resources, primary and secondary, for example here on the ancient Greece. And then finally the Evaluate text. You can see there's kind of a review flashcards, a rundown of what you learned, what was significant about what you learned. A lot of great resources on the DiscoveryEd Techbook. The next big resource I want to show you is what Discovery Education calls the Board Builder. Alright, so your students enjoyed using the Techbook, and Mr. Layton has assigned to them to build a board. Now we'll spend time in class showing students how to do this, and one of our projects this 9 weeks is going to be in order to create a virtual museum, and I'm going to show you how we can do that using Board Builder. So you come up here, you're going to click on Board Builder, and when you do, you've got these options to choose from. So I'm going to click on History, and I'm going to build a board for the Egyptians. It's going to bring up a template of basically a really simple designed website. So students will be able to come in here and give it their own title, the Egyptian Museum. And then they can go throughout this and they can add their own text. But the really neat part is the visual resources they can search from using the Discovery Education database. So if I were doing this on the Egyptians, I might search for the Egyptians. And that search is going to turn up a lot of different resources, including mummification. Well, it tells you here it's a 4-minute video. Well, if am I making a virtual museum, sometimes videos are a good way for me to learn, but they're also a good way for people to come to my museum to learn. So I click Add, and now that 4-minute video is here on my site. Now DiscoveryEd is also filled with a lot of video resources if students want to engage with those in their own time, just like the one I put on here. I'll let you play for just a second. Another great feature is the archive of videos that Discovery Education has. For example, I just embedded this video to my Egyptian museum. By simply clicking play, you'd be able to watch this video to a little over 4 minutes in length. Now, when a student finishes something like a board, one of the great parts is they can simply come here and click share. He'll have a list of their teachers appear on the screen, and then from that point it's one click and then it's automatically shared with that teacher. We'll go back now to the Techbook real quick so you can get a final summary here. On the Techbook, if you get some time, just kind of go through and look at the information along with the resources. I think both you and your parents will find that you actually really like this resource. Okay, and that wraps it up for the Discovery Education Tech Book. And if you'll remember again, that is, you're going to go to ortn.discoveryeducation.com. Log in is the same as your Skyward information. The next video that we'll have up will be about using the McGraw-Hill online textbook. One of the nice things this year is that students have both options, and we will be using both in class and as a resource outside of class. Hope you have a great night.